What? Thank you that you love my sweater. Thank you. A lady named Bridget knitted it with her own hands, and I got it from a website called Draw4 Designs. She posted a picture of it on Twitter, and I said I need to own that, and so I gave her money, and she knitted this sweater with her hands. She's brilliant. So, do you want to get a picture of the sweater? Maybe odd for a children's show panel. All right, this is the Danger and Eggs panel. I'm very excited to be a part of this panel because this is a show that my company produces. I can't really take much of any credit for it. The people that deserve all the credit will be out here. I just want to make sure, can I just get the sheet so I introduce everyone in the correct order? Someone has that over there. I don't have that up here, so I just want to make sure I don't mess it up. We're going to talk about the show a little bit. We're going to have some audience questions. We're going to do a giveaway. There's a poster up here that everyone has signed. Okay, great. There's a poster here that everyone signed, and maybe we'll just give that to everyone's favorite question. We'll all decide as a group, all democratically and stuff. First of all, how's your Comic-Con been so far? Has it been nice? We're very excited to be here. So I'm going to start introducing everyone. Here we go. This is the creator, really the sort of the heart and soul of Puny, who does everything, and Puny would not exist without her. Please welcome Shadi Potowski! Also creator, Mike Owens. As Dee Dee Danger, Amy Bryant. As Philip the Egg, Eric Noble. As Layla, Charlene Yee. As Jessica Nicole. As Stephanie Beatrice. Alright, you see everyone's here. Oh, everyone's up on the thing there. Okay, perfect. Now just in case you want to see what we look like without motion, you can just look right there. And if you want to see us animated, we're right here. So, I'll start with Shadi because I came on as a partner in Puny Entertainment a couple of years ago, and at that point you had already created and done the pilot for Danger and Eggs, and then immediately it was one of the best experiences for me because we became partners, and then you're like, oh, by the way, we have a series.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but Chris is a nerd. Yeah. And so you wanted to do animation, and we started doing a series right away in animation.
Yeah, Shadi and I have been friends for a long time, and Puny was a company that started in Minneapolis, a really amazing artist collective, and we worked on stuff together before. We've been friends for a long time, and she just does such impressive work. So I can take zero credit for Danger and Eggs, other than doing one small voice in one episode. But can you talk a little bit about where it came from?
You also gave me the credit card to buy all the computers.
I did do that too. Yeah,
I did. That's kind of a big deal.
But can you Mike, talk a little bit about where the idea came from and and then we can delve a little more into some of the narrative of the show.
Well, sure. The idea came from Mike. We wanted to do like an improvised sort of short film. So Mike had this character, Philip the Safety Egg, and we joined forces with Eric's improv group, Splendid Things, and we made an adult short that showed all over at a bunch of different film festivals. Yeah, and that's kind of how it started. And then Cartoon Network was really interested in it as a kids show, so we started to develop it, and then we ended up going with Amazon, and here it is, 26 11-minute episodes for 13 and a half hours.
Fantastic. And then 80 is Dee Dee, who is such a great role model, and she's so energetic and adventurous, and I think she's such a great hero for the show. So how did you get involved, and how did you approach her?
Yeah, I mean, I came in, hello everyone, also. I came in kind of like late in the party. Like Eric was really involved in helping, but I came in when everything was done. And so I really could see like the world, and I was like, oh, there's this little missing piece that's Dee Dee, and it's this energetic voice, and so we worked together and made this cool thing. I don't know.
What do you like the most about Dee Dee?
I mean, what I like about her is she's like the leading charge of all the action. She is the badass who is like, you know, making all this adventure happen. And I'm probably more of a Philip at heart. I'm like a nervous egg. And so to get to be this like adventure queen for a day is a dream.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also, you know, listen, a lot of people who like all the things that we like do tend to enjoy a lot of the benefits of anxiety. And and so having a show like this with the juxtaposition of sort of the two halves of who we, you know, the person that we want to be, which I think is Dee Dee, and the person that we probably are, which is Philip, but then that constant struggle between, you know, overcoming fear and overcoming anxiety, I think is a really, besides the fact, the show I think is one of the most inclusive and positive shows in media at the moment. Did you realize that when you were coming into it, or did you discover that as you were kind of getting into the episodes?
You know, I knew a little bit going in, but the more and more we would record all these episodes, the more and more I was like, oh, this is something really special. And then now that all the episodes are out, I sat down in one day and watched all of them like a maniac, because I mean, it's cool to binge watch, but then when you're the one in the show and you're watching it yourself, then you're insane.
Right.
You know? Like, you're just indulging yourself. But it was...
I am good.
I was like, I think I may be amazing at this. No, but what I actually was like so transfixed by was the way that these messages in the show are so subtly sort of dropped in a way that, like, as an adult, I was like, oh, I'd love to hear those messages now for myself. Right. And I would have loved to hear them when I was a child, you know? So.
Yeah, and just for Eric, I think the great thing about Philip is that he is definitely a nervous egg, but he's not naggy. Like, he's definitely, his heart is in the right place, and he's very sincere. So what did you see when you know, what did you bring to Philip to keep him sort of, I mean, I hate to say human, but essentially to make him human?
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that I like about Philip, and I think the thing that kind of evolved over time that became really important was that he's still really proactive. You know, he's anxious and he's not apologetic really about that. It's just something he's working through. So it's just his deal. So they've got to get on with it. Whatever Dee Dee's doing, they have to do the adventure, and he's down for that ride. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's answering your question, but what's the human part? Because I do feel like the human part, at least for me, is the anxiety part. It's like oh God, he's just thinking out loud, and you're just seeing all of it just unfold at all times. But the fact that he just, will push through, and no matter what, and help his friend and keep everybody safe. I mean, it's just,
Excellent. Charlene, how did you know Charlene before? Did you know Charlene you before?
You recognized me from my modeling career. And it was kind of interesting. I was like, no one ever wanted to hear me talk. Usually people just want me for my looks. So it was cool that you guys wanted to use my voice instead of my image, which is what attracted me to the project.
Oh, good.
We've since changed our minds.
When? Right now?
Yeah, seeing all that modeling you've been doing all day.
Well, you use my image too.
Sure, we had lunch about a totally different show called Mutines a lot of years ago. Yeah, and that's how we met. So I wanted to do something with Charlene for like 7 years or something.
That's a long time.
A long time.
Why does it keep getting darker?
I know, I keep going in and out of feeling sexy.
I feel like this is sort of the reverse of the way it kind of usually works. It's brightest in the back of the room, and it's darkest in the... Oh, that's right, so we can see you guys.
You look amazing.
When we go through and we start asking all you guys questions, how did you guys get involved with the project? Is there a light switch that can turn on that maybe the...
Usually no lights work.
Well, I just think these lights maybe should be on, if that's okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so much better. Jessica, how did you get involved with Danger Eggs?
Shaddy just asked me. And that was it. I always say yes to work. I'm kidding, no I don't. I'm very discriminate. But when I saw that Shaddy this was her project, and that Laura Zach was involved, and then all these other actors that they had, and I
knew all these people from the community, like the community, LGBTQ, like diverse community of comedic actors around LA. So I knew that like this was a really exciting show to be a part of for me as a queer person. And I was really excited to have it be a conversation for kids that I don't think they have a chance to talk about. You know, these aren't themes that kids talk about, but they are themes that kids absolutely experience in terms of ability, gender identity, you know, the people that they are or are not attracted to, or like Stephanie said earlier, whether they are attracted to people at all or not, pronouns, consent, like these are all topics in my adult conversations that I wish were a part of kids' conversations too, because I think that they are intelligent enough to speak on them and to have an opinion about them.
Yeah, and I also don't, I mean, I don't know what I don't have kids yet, so maybe I should shut up, but it just when I see people in public go, what do you do? Like, you need to talk to a child like a person. Like, you don't have to talk down to them. You can have a conversation with them and get them accustomed to conversing.
Yeah, I think the show really gives them the benefit of the doubt and expects them to be able to elevate the conversation a little bit in a manageable, approachable way for, you know, a regular kid that still wants to go play on the playground.
Right.
You know, there's a balance there.
Excellent. And Stephanie, how did you get involved?
Shadi asked me.
Nice.
And I was like, cool, that sounds good. I have a day off, let's do it. And then when I was there, we ended up doing a couple voices.
Yeah.
And then one of them developed into a secondary character.
Yeah, the character of Captain Banjo was just a one-off character. Eric was also a writer on the show, and he wrote this character that had just like 2 lines or something, but she did it so well that we kind of made that character the villain later. She's real talented.
I mean, the collection of talent that also isn't up here on stage too. It's like everyone is, you know, Weird Al did voices on the show.
Yeah, we didn't want him on the panel.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the guest stars?
Oh gosh, we wanted a movie star, so we got Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She said yes. Weird Al. Laura Petty played our like nemesis of Dee Dee, right? This kind of body positive roller girl nemesis that we did all we could do to not make her look like Tank Girl. I really like Tank Girl. Harvey Sheena, Brendan Murray plays Tyronius. Who else is on the show? There's a lot of people. Oh, Chris Hardwick is in the show.
Oh, it's just for us for a second.
Yeah, he plays a character, Pete Carroll, with a southern accent, which is kind of roots a little.
Oh yeah, totally my roots. Yeah. That's why the voice in my head whenever I'm beating myself is always like, shut up! Like it's always
yeah.
It's never like that. I don't know why the southern voice is not the guy who's like, everything's gonna be alright. It's not that voice. So I don't know, I just made him like that. If people want to start lining up, we can start asking.
Everybody's getting the original artwork.
Oh, and you're all getting the original artwork.
Yeah, that's
right?
like the original. And we'll sign that later. I want one. Those are real cool.
Oh yeah, legitimately, if you do have a piece of original art, I'm an animation art collector, and you need to hang on to that because that is a thing that someday when you look back, you'll go, oh man, I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know what happened to it. And the people who saved it, like it'll be not worth. You know, you should save it.
This is like maybe one of the last Amazon let us go completely traditionally animated on it, and it's not. This doesn't happen anymore. It's all digital now. So that was pretty amazing.
Excellent. Hey, what is your name and question?
Hi, I'm Jenny, and I just wanted to, say hi.
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 That's great. Hello. Everyone should say hello, Jenny. Hello. Hi, Jenny. Hey, what's your name?
Oh my gosh, hi, I'm so excited. My name's Ollie. As a trans youth myself, well, I'm 19, so I don't know if I'm a youth anymore.
You're out of it. What are you doing for retirement? How are you planning for your future?
Boy, when you hit 20, it's all down.
If you commit a crime, you're going to the big
True,
house.
it's true. Yeah. Anyway, I was really excited to hear about this show from trans creators, and I was like, oh my gosh, yay!
One trans creator.
Well,
so far.
Maybe, yeah. So I was gonna ask, what do you think of, what are your opinions on like this being a children's show, specifically with like trans characters and like stuff, and bringing that to like a children's audience? And what do you see in the future for like queer and trans media for children and adults?
Well, we called the writing of this like speculative social fiction. Like we wanted to make, I mean, it's in a city, right? So like it'd be weird to have a show in a city that didn't represent all the people that live in a city. So we wanted to show the kind of future we want. So I think the future is like in the show. We want it to feel like that, where people can use pronouns without just stepping over themselves or anything like that. Amazon was awesome. We wanted to do a Pride episode. I have Pride in Minneapolis is so important to like me and like that really neighborhoody Pride. And everybody goes and there's like boat rides and stuff. So that kind of like really communal Pride episode was really important. And they said yes, and they were really cool with that. And then yeah, I don't know. You just, I mean, it sounds easy when I'm sitting up here, but it's just like just include people. You know, I think my friend said like live diversely and then write authentically. So like for us, like there's a lot of people that were just my friends that I just really wanted to put into the show, and that's how they're in there.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Congratulations on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on turning 19. Nate.
I vaguely remember 19. I don't know if I really remember it anymore.
Oh.
I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah, I don't either. Nobody knows.
You guys have like little kind of maybe for more mature viewers, like jokes that are peppered in. How do you straddle that line? Because it is still a kid's show.
You're dirty. You stuck some stuff in there. What did you stick?
Me?
There was, you know what there was? The microphone on?
Yeah. Put it in front of your
So
mouth.
there was, we made an episode about real estate and a real estate agent. And there was something about the dynamic between, his name is Rhonda, and Philip, that we were seeing how far we could push the weird tension between the two. We got pulled back a little bit, but the one Easter egg is, you know that she's from The Graduate, of like looking through the leg? That they were not having that, so we just moved it where she's on her side and through the elbow, so it's the same framing. And that got a pass.
All the storyboard artists started shipping Philip and Rhonda. So there is, Amazon caught it. They're real smart. And started taking it out. But I think that Jonah Ray's character in the Philip episode is reading a romance
It's the
novel.
security guard, yeah.
Yeah, the security guard that Jonah Ray plays is reading a romance novel that has Philip and Rhonda on the cover and like that classic romance novel.
Wind blowing.
Yeah.
That's great.
You should always look in the background of any shows. I just finished a show last year called Sanjay and Craig, and someone sent me a screen cap of a close-up. They hit a pickle in the background of every episode, and there's hieroglyphics on the back of the wall, and someone zoomed in on it, and it is legitimately a pickle, a finger doing this, another one doing this, and then a cat. And I'm like, how did they get away with that?
Wait, Chris Hardwick, what does that mean?
It means everyone is happy.
Cats love pickles,
Thank you.
cats love pickles.
Hi, what's your name?
My friends call me JP.
Hey, JP.
So I'm gonna be 100% honest. I didn't know what this panel was. It sounded interesting, danger and eggs, so I decided to come.
Hey, good for you for taking a chance.
Yeah. But now that I hear that there's a lot of LGBT references in it, like it's gonna be good for kids, I'm like, oh, this sounds really interesting. Now I'm really interested in watching it.
Oh, good.
So I'm kind of wondering, I know this is a kids show, but are you hoping that it resonates with adults as well?
Yeah, it was intentional. Yeah, but we just thought about it that way. We weren't doing a kids show that was really plain down talking, so we sort of just wrote for what was funny and what was good dialogue, what was good characters, and just trusted that kids are smarter than that. And I think it's coming across. So it was, that's how we thought about it right from the get-go.
Yeah, and we're always trying to make each other laugh. So like Adi and Eric are improvisers, and they'll just do stuff in the room and make themselves laugh and make other people laugh.
Make yourselves laugh.
Make yourselves laugh.
Funny, put that in the show.
So much.
That's what life is about.
I mean, I think it's probably a kid's show the way SpongeBob is a kid's show or Adventure Time is a kid. It's like there's certainly a layer for kids, but I personally think it's something happened in animation where it started, especially for kids animation, where it started to get very scientific, and you would watch something like Blue's Clues or anything like that where they know that they could air the same episode several days in a row, and kids would watch it and they talk down to the kids because that's how kids And I always miss, when I was growing up, my parents and I would watch cartoons together, because they would laugh at Bugs Bunny for different reasons than I would laugh at Bugs Bunny or The Muppet Show or anything else. And so I think it's really important for a family to have something that they can, where a parent doesn't want to like tear their eyes out,
With Yo Gabba Gabba, which is what we worked on for years, was a direct response to how terrible Dora the Explorer is. On the same network, so we've never really got to talk about that. But they hated Dora so much they created that, and so it's part of our DNA that we don't want to make kids shows that parents can't watch with their kids, or
Single adults like me. I'm an adult and I like it. I'm a grown woman.
It'd be weird if she just left after that.
Every time.
She has an agenda.
Also, that's like important for someone like me that like loves animation but kind of wants just something lighthearted,
Yeah.
like innocent. Someone that doesn't want something like so mature. So like I think that's nice.
Excellent. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thanks for coming. And what is your name?
Hi, I'm Amanda. I just want to say I really appreciate how Philip's anxiety was handled in the show. It was dealt with in a way that was still like it wasn't a joke, but it was still humorous. And I was just wondering what the conversation around that was and kind of how you guys got to find that, because I haven't really seen that in animation or like anything. It's either very serious or straight up a joke.
You guys are being really nice.
I know, that's such a good question. We've been actually talking about that amongst ourselves all day.
Yeah, I think it's sorry. I was talking about it all day, so
We all have anxiety. We all have anxiety. I think creative people, it's kind of a through line.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's been a lot of the conversation we've been having is how we all have anxiety, and it's like, and when we were kids, I can't name all the anxious characters you saw out there just being anxious. But yeah, and it was never really, when we first were creating it, I mean, it was pitched out as the character, like he's freaked out or something, but it was never, the nuances of anxiety and all that weren't discussed amongst us. We all just kind of have that, so we all we're responding to it, and that's how you react, right? That's how it goes for everybody. And so yeah, just saying those things out loud and then being allowed to, and it's part of the show, part of the fabric of the show now.
We tried to show Philip handling his anxiety really well sometimes, and Dee Dee helping her friend with anxiety, because it's something that you have and you just learn to manage. So we really wanted to show kids some actual, like I was writing techniques in that I was learning in therapy, and they're just right in the show as is. But then we also show, like Felicia Day plays this character, Francesca, who has anxiety, and then it manifests as in like a completely more sort of destructive, angry way. And so like there's so many different ways that anxiety ends up manifesting, and we wanted to like cover a lot of bases on that. So sometimes it's soft and nice, and sometimes it's not so good, and some is demonized and some isn't. And yeah, but thanks for noticing that.
Yeah, I think it's also really important to demystify it and not treat it as this, like, I don't know, you need to get fixed. I mean, it's like, you learn to live with it, and you learn to cope with it, and you do that through community, and you do that through learning that you're not a broken person, and it's just something that we're dealing with, because we all have very active internal monologues, and which means that you're probably pretty smart and pretty creative. So just kind of learning how to deal with that and make it a conversation instead of you better fix that, that I just think it's better to, the more things, and one of the reasons that I'm proud about this show is not just the inclusivity in terms of, in terms of gender and in terms of sexuality, but also just in terms of just being a human, and this is just the stuff we're dealing with, and it's fine, it's okay, you're gonna be okay is ultimately, I think, what the message of the show is. Great, thank you. Oh, an open moment. You get a car. No one's getting cars, by the way. All right.
Just thank you again for like the representation on the show. Like I watched it with my cousin who's 6, and we'd just gone to Pride, and then like the next week we watched this and there's a Pride episode, and she's like, oh yeah, this is like the thing that we did, and all the people and the rainbow, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like kind of seeing the real world that you live in, like on a show that's kind of geared more towards kids was really cool. So just thank you for that. And I know you know like people involved in it who are also LGBT and all that kind of stuff, and it's really amazing. My question is kind of like not about that, but like the music at the end credits, it's always like the remix of like some random thing from the show, and it's like I love it. I was wondering whose idea was that to like have that be the outro.
We're not telling. We stole that from Yo Gabba Gabba. We did that on the end of every episode. And it was so fun. We'd always do that, and it was really fun, so we wanted to do that on the show, too.
Working with Andy, the music.
Yeah, now we're gonna get sued.
Just like somebody who didn't have to forget that, scratch the question.
But thanks for liking those, because those songs are really fun. There's one that's just cat meows. And when we had our premiere party, we gave all the songs to the DJ. So they were playing that in between.
I love how quickly you caved. We're not going to tell anyone who
I'm not gonna
stole
tell,
it.
but because everyone said, "Oh, yeah," they can get you guys. I can't keep anything from you guys.
Hi, I'm sorry. My name's Elvira. That's true. It is my name.
Your name's Diana.
Elvira.
Diana.
Right. Yes.
You are Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Which is very appropriate for the Amazon.
And this is Sophia. So I personally have not seen this, but I'm super excited about this. I have an 18-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter, and I've always taught them that love is love is love is love. And I think this is so amazing, and I can't wait to go home and watch it with my girl. My question to you is, do you plan on expanding and developing for the big screen?
If they want us to,
We'll do it. If they said that we had to make a movie, I don't know.
I guess.
I'd do it.
Totally do it.
There is a cool thing. They just came out with these Amazon Rapids books that are coming out. So like, there's already like I think 16. Did you do 8?
What? We did,
How many did you do?
we did 5.
Oh, 5
to start, but yeah.
Yeah, 5. Okay, 10, 11. New stories with new art that people from the show wrote and stuff. So they're already like doing some more stuff, which is really.
And we get to do some of the voices for them.
But you can also just get a projector.
Well, I'm a Prime junkie, so I'm a fan today. And so thank you so much, Chris. We are like die-hard fans of yours. We watch everything you're on, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate
Thank
that.
you guys so much.
Yeah, and honestly, if you do like the show, it really does help if you rate it and comment on it and share it.
You
I
bet.
mean, people always say like, hey, like or subscribe to that, but it really does help because particularly in this, what Amazon's doing is so interesting, and because it's like, hey, if you guys want to see more of something, we will give that to you, as opposed to a network where it's a bunch of people in suits to make that decisions. I mean, Amazon really does empower viewers and an audience, and that's what they're amazing at. So if you do like it or you do like anything like that, then please do get involved and let them know because it does affect the future of these shows. At Amazon Kids on all the platforms. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And it's kind of like having all the episodes come out at once. We don't get that nice like weekly chance to talk about it. So I mean, like 4 days after it came out, people were like, "Oh, I finally saw it." And it's like, no, it's still new. It's still new, and people still need to hear about it. So please do.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I can't wait to show my 3-year-old son. I think this is something that should be watched for young viewers, just so we can have communication. My question is, since I haven't seen the show, Philip, does he have because there's like a dozen eggs, so does he have other siblings with him? Like he just gets away?
Oh, has anybody seen the show?
No, I have not seen the show.
Yeah, so you have to watch the show.
Okay.
Don't cave.
There's a thing. There's a thing in there.
Philip has a mom, and there's a thing. There's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Thank you
good.
guys.
She's a real big mom.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I actually don't have a question. I just have a comment, mostly because I don't want to leave without you knowing. Nothing scary. I saw your face getting a little concerned. But I'm a school counselor at an elementary school, and I didn't really know what I was getting into with this panel. And I'm actually really excited to go home and watch this because I'm always looking for things to use in my counseling sessions with my students. And I deal with all those students who have those anxiety disorder, or not disorders, but anxiety in the general ed population. And I'm constantly trying to give them techniques that they can use to help them manage what they're going through. And I'm really excited to possibly use your show in my theories and in my counseling sessions. So I just wanted to let you know that before I leave, and I want to say thank you for making this because it sounds really exciting and possibly very helpful to the students I work with at my school.
Great. Thank you so much. That's all I do. think we have time for just a couple more questions, then we're gonna show an episode, and then we're gonna give away this poster. So, what is your question?
Yeah, so we brought up, Yo Gabba Gabba. I also know there's some common threads with the Aquabats. I'm just curious in terms of like special guests or anything, is there any opportunity to either bring in, maybe MC Bat Commander or DJ Lance Rock, or either at least bring those guys in to maybe do voice work or anything?
Lance has been texting me a lot and asking to be on the show. He's got some time. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have Lance to be on the show. I don't know if anybody else has any guests that they want to see.
Just guests in general, or specifically from the game?
No, you have to name somebody from the Aquabats.
Oh, I was going to start listing off names. Let's see, Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes of the Aquabats.
Susan Sarandon.
Of the Aquabats.
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. Hey, I'm in the Aquabats.
Hi, my name is Elena. I'm going to reiterate what the person before him just said too, is I haven't seen the show yet. I actually learned about this panel because I was following Chris on Twitter. I bought you birds from Disneyland at one point.
Oh, you what?
I bought you the birds from Disneyland.
Oh, you were the one that got me that? Oh, that's right. Thank you so much for that. Anyway, she found some really cool stuff at Disneyland and we bought it.
I'll talk to you guys later. But so my son actually has been really doing a lot these last couple years with anxiety, and so listening to everything here about everything, he's actually back here waving his arms because he
Let's go.
So I'm really excited to see that I followed you enough to know about this, and my friends knew it already. But I'm really excited you guys are tackling these kinds of issues and everything to help me give him something to see that it's not just him going through it, and that everybody deals with things. My heart's racing a mile a minute right now myself, and everybody deals with anxiety. So I really, really appreciate you guys. So I'm really excited to see the show.
Thank you so much. It's nice to see you in person. I really appreciate it. I want to give away the poster. I kind of know who I want to give the poster to already. Can I?
To Yo Gabba Gabba.
I mean, they're going to get it in the lawsuit. I really want to give the poster to Jenny, the girl who asked them to, because she just wanted to say hi, and that was so pure and wonderful.
Yay! Epic Man presents.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
You've won the poster. Today is your day. It's all
Jenny lives in London, England. Has a very long plane ride.
Oh no, how's that going to get on the plane?
Sorry.
So I do want to mention that if you head over to the Sales Pavilion, AA05, between 3:15 and 4:15, you can get your drawings autographed. There's more original art there, so please come to the autograph section. Follow Amazon Kids and Danger and Eggs on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also be sure to stream it on Amazon Prime Video. And again, if you like the show, please share it, rate it. We loved making this show. We would love to make more. It's such a wonderful group of people and such an amazing, and also, the show is also just funny. With everything that we talked about, the show is genuinely entertaining and funny too. So I want to thank you so much. We're gonna excuse the panel. I'm gonna run over and do a Doctor Who panel, and then I don't know if you're familiar with the show. Pretty popular in England. But we're gonna show you an episode of the program, and then that's gonna be in the panel. But I don't know if Shadi would tell you this, but this is she's so over the moon about this today, and the fact that you showed up, and the fact that people are watching. I mean, we've been.
Can everybody hold up those signs that say Danger and Eggs? Can you just hold all those up so we can take the real fun? Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
I mean, Shadi's been coming to Comic-Con for years and years and years.
This is my 18th Comic-Con. Wow. Real big nerd.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're going to show the episode right now. Please stick around and then come to the signing afterwards. And thank you to Amazon for having us. All right, I'll see you guys.